Here's the things about control. Everybody wants it, but nobody really has it. Welcome back to the Vanguard Show, where we talk about business, life, and just a little bit of common sense. Here's the things about control. Everybody wants it, but nobody really has it. And what do I mean by that? Well, we can't control the market, gas prices, or whether social media hides our posts, right? But we can control how we show up every single day. And honestly, most people forget that's enough to win. So I have all my notes on my iPad. That's how I'm going to talk to you guys. This is the first episode of the Vanguard Show. All it really is just a laid back talk show here that we're trying to create. We really want to create this sense of purpose, this movement. So this way, if you guys have questions or answers, we can provide them for you guys. So the goal is to have multiple people on here later on. But right now, it's just myself. We get to hang out for a little bit. I'm going to look down at my notes, make sure that we cover everything that we have together. All right? So if you ever notice the people who seem the most stressed are usually the ones who spend all day arguing with things that they can't really change. I mean, think about it. You're on Facebook, right? And you're scrolling, and there's someone posts something in one of the local Facebook groups, and there's tons of different arguments going on, back and forth, and it just seems like these people literally have no lives. That's the big thing that I'm talking about. It isn't necessarily the fact that, these people don't have lives. It's just the fact that they don't have anything better to do with their lives. So, they'll spend 3, 4, 5 hours a day debating the economy on Facebook. It's ridiculous. But they won't spend 30 minutes tightening up their offer or returning client calls. It blows my mind at how many people we work with, how many people we talk to on a daily basis that literally talks about how they can't do this, they can't do that, they don't have the time. But then, 10, 15 minutes later, you see them on Facebook just scrolling around. That's what I'm talking about, guys. And the big thing with today is we want to talk about how we can take control of that. So we can fix that, so we can beat that, so we can move forward with that. I used to be that guy. That's how I know. I'd wake up, I'd scroll the news, get mad at the headlines, and convince myself, my business isn't growing the way that it needs to because the economy sucks or anything like that. But the big thing is it wasn't the world. It was me being distracted. And that's the big thing that a lot of people struggle with. They don't understand that just being distracted causes issues that they don't realize that they were causing themselves. So I finally realized that focus is a form of control. You control your effort, your attention, your attitude, and everything else. That's just background noise. You don't need all of that stuff. You don't need different ways to grow your business. You don't need the latest and greatest trends to grow your business. You just need ways to keep moving forward to continue growing. It's like flying a helicopter in bad weather. You can't clear the skies, but you can stay on your instruments, and you can rely on the path that has constantly been working for you. In your business, your instruments are your numbers, your daily habits, and how fast you recover from nonsense. That's the funny thing about it. And if you're a business owner, there's always nonsense. I mean, think about it. How many times have you talked to a client or a potential client and they've sat there and they've told you that they can't move forward because the economy sucks? Or they sit there, they come out and they say that they can't move forward because they didn't get paid because their boss sucks. Things like that. There's always an excuse. So the big thing is how do we control it? Can we control those excuses? Those are great questions that a lot of people have. So I want to tell you guys about a buddy of mine that texted me last week real quick. He was complaining that Facebook wasn't showing his posts. I looked at him. I responded back. I gave him a call. We ended up FaceTime. I was like, bro, Facebook doesn't even know show my wife my posts. That's the crazy thing. I can post something, my wife will never see it. It's not the enemy. That's the internet. So you just have to learn how you can control it. A lot of people don't realize that when you post something online, only about 10% of your followers are actually seeing it anyway. That's why there's constant things talking about you got to post often, you got to keep showing up every single day, because only 10% of your audience is really seeing it. So why are you worried about who's seeing it? You should be more focused on, are you putting in the effort to actually do it? That's what I wanted to ask him about. And he got mad at it for a second, and then he ended up kind of agreeing with me when I walked him through the strategy. I showed him, I was like, look, man, You have to focus on this. You can't just focus on the fact that one person didn't see your post, right? I post 3, 4, 5 times a day. And the funny thing is that my wife half the time doesn't even know that I post. So the biggest thing you want to keep in mind is the simple fact that the internet is there to keep you engaged. Your phone is there to keep you engaged. Your iPads are there to keep you engaged. Everything you do online is there to keep you engaged. And whether you like it or not, the algorithm is not working for you. It's working against you. It's showing things that are relatable to other people. So if you're not trying to be relatable and you're just trying to make sales, your business is never going to work. But the big thing is that a lot of people don't put in the time. They complain. They sit there and they complain about the local weather that's going on, all of that fun-filled stuff. But the big thing is, let's hit a common sense corner real quick. People keep asking, how do I stay motivated? I got this call the other day. Someone asked me, how do you stay motivated day in and day out? I'll tell you guys, it's really freaking hard. We had a week where we were running ads and nothing was hitting, and we just kept blowing through money, and it was making me frustrated. I could not figure it out for the life of me. Ended up figuring it out after a while, but the big thing is there's just so much going on that you have to focus on the things that you can control. You know, the easy answer is you don't stay motivated. There's hundreds of different things hitting you at all once. You know, you have Slack going off. You have Teams going off. You have this person wanting to talk to you. You have this client messaging you. But the big thing is you can't just stay focused. You have to stay consistent. And what I mean by that is I'm going to give you guys an example. One of the big things that I do on a daily basis when I wake up is I'm going to sit there and I'm going to plan out everything I do. Before I do anything else, I plan it all out, and then I try to match it, and I try to figure out, okay, what are the most important things I got to focus on? Because there's 3 rings really about your life that absolutely matter. Everything else doesn't matter. You have the one that you can control, which is normally your family, your finances, all of that stuff, right? And then you have the one that you influence, your friends, your immediate family, the people you talk to on a daily basis. Those are the people that you influence. And they're all based on what you worry about in the first ring. The third ring is outside your control, guys. You have to quit worrying about the outside control. You really have to focus on what matters the most. Is it the economy that you're worried about? If you're really worried about the economy, sad news, guys. It's probably going to be a recession. But the big thing you have to keep in mind is that there's always recessions. There's always recessions. There's always growth. It's really about what you can control. If you personally can't control it that day, it doesn't matter. That's one of the biggest things that a lot of people struggle with, because motivation's like caffeine. It wears off really, really fast. You could wake up early in the morning super, super motivated, but the problem is by the time you're done with lunch, it's going to be gone. So, like I said, consistency is like discipline. It compounds over time. The longer you do something, the more you do it on a daily basis. You show up even when no one else is watching. You show up even when no one else is there. That's going to compound over time. That's going to keep growing. That's why I always tell people, stop chasing the hype and start stacking on your habits. The more better habits that you have, the more prosperous you're going to become, and the more beneficial your business is going to be. You don't need to change your life overnight. You just need to quit restarting it every single Monday. That's one of the biggest issues that most small business owners face. They always skip the weekends. They show up on Monday and they say they're ready to go, and then nothing happens, right? And then they're stuck in the same rut over and over and over. So I want to leave you guys with a couple closing thought processes here. Control what's yours. Your effort, your energy, your example. Everything else, just let it go. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about what's going to happen. Don't worry about anything else. If you focus on running your race, you'll stop tripping over everyone else's opinions. Who cares if the guy on YouTube commented that you're fat? Who cares? It doesn't matter. Focus on what you can control. Produce the results that you can control. So remember, that's the biggest thing that you can do moving forward. Focus on you. Let everything else go. All right, that's it for today's show, guys. If this gave you something to think about, share it with a friend who's overcomplicating their week. Maybe it will just help them get past that one little hump and continue growing their business. or their personal life. I'm Steven. Thanks for hanging out with me on the Vanguard Show. Remember, lead yourself first and the rest starts to follow.